Good evening, you're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. A Saudi-led coalition strikes northern provinces of Yemen in a third consecutive night of heavy airstrikes. Chemical weapons inspectors find precursors of deadly VX and sarin nerve agents in Syria. And the Ministry of Civil Service finishes conducting examinations in the governorate of the Far. Those were the headlines, and now for the news in detail. Concerns over a final nuclear deal with Iran and the civil war in Yemen topped the agenda of talks in Paris between US Secretary of State John Kerry and representatives of the Gulf Arab states. After marking the 70th anniversary of the end of World War II in Europe at the Arc de Triomphe, Kerry met counterparts from Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Oman and Bahrain, as well as the head of the Gulf Cooperation Council. He was joined by Washington's chief Iran negotiator Wendy Sherman and US Secretary of Energy Ernest Moniz, a nuclear specialist. The Paris meeting laid the groundwork for a summit next week in Washington and Camp David between US President Barack Obama and the six-nation GCC. Obama faces a formidable challenge to allay Gulf Arab fears over a nuclear deal with Tehran, which is due by June 30th. A Saudi-led coalition struck northern provinces of Yemen today in a third consecutive night of heavy airstrikes. More than 100 airstrikes hit areas of Sada and Hajjah provinces. The coalition jets destroyed a Houthi headquarters in Al-Tala and tanks and military vehicles in Al-Baqa in Sada province. Other strikes targeted Sana'a airport runway and Houthi targets in the Al-Sada district of Ib in central Yemen. In the southern port city of Aden, clashes continued in the central crater, Khor Maksar and Mu'ala districts as the Houthis and forces loyal to Saleh shelled local militias trying to oust them from the city. Chemical weapons inspectors have found traces of precursors for the deadly VX and sarin nerve agents at an undeclared site in Syria, according to a European Union document seen yesterday. Maris Kilsans, Latvia's permanent representative at the Hague-based Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, told fellow delegates at a closed-door meeting that the 28-country bloc had a number of concerns over Damascus's handling of its chemical weapons issue. The United States, however, on Wednesday asked the UN Secretary Council to set up an investigation on the use of chemical weapons in Syria following reports of chlorine gas attacks. The death toll from a prison break in Iraq climbed today to 50 inmates and 12 police, prison and police officials said. The deaths occurred inside Al-Khalis prison northeast of Baghdad during a riot and on a manhunt for escaped convicts overnight. Meanwhile, a car bomb blast targeting pilgrims on an annual march to Baghdad Shrine killed at least 7 people today and wounded 20. North Korea said today that it successfully test-fired a newly developed ballistic missile from a submarine in what would be the latest display of the country's advancing military capabilities. Hours after the announcement, South Korean military officials said the North fired 3 anti-ship cruise missiles into its eastern sea. North Korea also said for the second straight day that it would fire without warning at South Korean naval vessels that it claims have been violating its territorial waters of the western coast of Korean Peninsula. The international response has been slow to an appeal for emergency funds to help the millions of people hit by last month's earthquake in Nepal, a UN official said Friday. The UN's chief official in Nepal said the agency had received $22 million so far, against an appeal last week for $415 million to support relief efforts for the first 3 months in the Himalayan nation. The April 25th earthquake killed more than 7,800 people and injured thousands more. The government figures show that tens of thousands of houses have been demolished and assistance is immediately needed for 400,000 families. The Philippine Social Welfare Department organized the packing of additional relief goods today, less than 24 hours before a powerful typhoon was expected to make landfall. Typhoon Noel, a Category 4 storm with winds of 160 kph and gusts up to 195 kph, was about 210 kilometers northeast of Catanduanes Island in central Philippines. Army volunteers packed the goods, which included food, into bags to be sent to affected areas after the typhoon hit. Some relief items have already been distributed. Still to come in our news bulletin. Ash-Shakhra area is one of the amazing touristic destinations in the wilaya of Dama wa Ta'in.
Sultanate of Oman Pavilion in Milano Expo 2015 from the 1st of May to the 31st of October 2015.
Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The Ministry of Civil Service finished conducting examination procedures of the announced jobs and interviews in the Governorate of the FAR. 1,492 male and female citizens in the Governorate competed for 86 vacancies in all levels of the General Diploma and above. The employment examinations are conducted in a transparent atmosphere as per the rules and procedures of the Central Employment System without interference of humans. Public Authority for Electricity and Water confirmed that operation and maintenance team of the desalination plant in the Wilaya of Sahar managed to reoperate water pumps after stops in the monitoring and controlling system of the water pumps. The authority stated today that one boiler was operated on, adding that the work is continuing to provide water to houses through backup wells. The authority called on citizens and residents in the affected area to make contact through its call centre. Traffic safety is society culture is the theme adopted by Traffic Safety Committee in the Wilaya of Rostock in Traffic Safety Open Day. The event came as part of plans and programs to raise awareness among all segments of the society. Experiences of those who suffered from road accidents were displayed in the open day. Visual presentations on the dangers of road accidents were shown during the event, and an exhibition was held to raise awareness in the society. Ash-Shakhra area in the wilaya of Dama wa Ta'in is one of the amazing touristic destinations due to its natural beauty and tranquility. The place is full of water all the year. It also has some tourist services such as shaded areas and toilets. However, they are not enough due to the great number of tourists who visit the site every day from inside and outside the wilaya. A group of Omani students in Australia organised a cultural competition to introduce various matters about the Australian society to their colleagues. More details in the following report by Sultan bin Saif As-Sarai.
Challenging, competitive and informative are the best expressions to describe the first cultural competition which organised by the Omani Student Society of New South Wales. It aimed to enhance and increase the Omani students' knowledge at different significant aspects.
This competition aims to socialize the Omani students here in Australia, and it also gives them the opportunity to increase their level of knowledge about the Australian culture and history.
The competition focused especially on the Australian law, culture and lifestyle in order to inspire the Omani students there, as well as to help them adapting in the Australian society correctly. The participants divided into groups to solve some complicated intelligence questions that need both focus and teamwork skills.
Actually, I like most of the activities, especially the very fast questions. And one more thing is that most of the questions have no time, so you have to answer them very fast. And the other thing is teamwork was one of the main thing, where kept all the people to think together and also to bring them together.
7 teams competed each other for more than 4 hours, but finally only one team won with tiny differences compared with others. And that demonstrates that the competition was very challenging. More than 30 male and female Omani students participated in this competition, and they expressed that it helped them to increase different life skills. For Sultanate of Oman Television, Sultan bin Saif Sarai, Australia.
And now for the general weather forecast. Clear skies will prevail over the Sultanate with cloud accumulation over Hajar Mountains, with chances of rain over parts of the Governorate of Musandam. Winds will be northeasterly light to moderate along the coasts of Sea of Oman, while it will be southerly to southeasterly light to moderate along the rest of the Sultanate. Seas along the coasts will be moderate to rough with a maximum wave height of 2.5 metres. This is the Sultanate of Oman Television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. A Saudi-led coalition strikes northern provinces of Yemen in a third consecutive night of heavy airstrikes. Chemical weapons inspectors find precursors of deadly VX and sarin nerve agents in Syria. And the Ministry of Civil Service finishes conducting examinations in the Governorate of the Far. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.